I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your backs are against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure. Sacked by Quinnen Williams. Right sideline, Uzomah's got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like get like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life to breathe in the locker room.
Touchdown Jets.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilots. I've got Mr. Greenbean to my this way. I've got Mr. O'Leary to my that way. Greenbean, how you doing tonight?
I just like being called lovely. That, in and of itself, puts me in a good mood, and I'm ready to hang out with you guys.
Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Green Bean's back this week. I love Joe Blewett, but I miss myself some Green Bean. So it's the three amigos back in action. Things you love to see.
I love it. I love it. Boys and girls, if you're hopping in here for the first time, make sure you hit that like button. If you're hopping in here the second time, hit the like button again if you missed it the first time. And we have so much to get into. Our t-shirt giveaway is a little different than it's been in the past. All you have to do, you'll see in the live chat, it's pinned in the top comment in the live chat. You'll also see Nightbot dropping the link throughout the course of this stream. But Green Bean, Matt, and I have decided to launch our own Talkin' Jets channel. So after this season concludes, after the draft and whatnot, come July, when we ramp back up for training camp, that's when all the Talking Jets streams will be on that new channel. So head over to youtube.com/@TalkinJets, and that will hit the little subscribe button. If you leave a comment on the video that's posted over there, no matter how many comments you leave, you're qualified for every one of our giveaways through the NFL draft. So make sure you leave a bunch of comments over there. Oh, wow. It looks like Blitz Crew hopped in. He's like, wow, we're over 500. Considering we only did it last week, and it's not too shabby. Not too bad. Greenbean.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, am I not doing the collection of names anymore?
So write down the names of people that super chat because they'll be qualified.
Okay.
I think we still do. Yeah, let's still do the 25 likes. But if you want to be entered to the jersey giveaways, we're going to be picking names from that other video. Hit subscribe on that channel. Leave a comment.
All right, I got
Helps
it.
us out. Yeah, not
I
too
got
shabby,
it.
right?
Okay, here we go.
So, Matt,
All right,
so
I'm in.
Greenbean, Matt and I talked a little bit about this last week. How are you feeling about this new Talkin' Jets adventure that we're going on?
I think it's going to be awesome, dude. I couldn't be more excited about it. I really couldn't. I think it's the best. I think it makes perfect sense. I think everyone else thinks it already exists. That's what I think. I think it's like, what? That's not what we're doing already? So I think it's a great idea. I think it opens up a lot of doors for us to work creatively together. Look, we've been hanging out for, 4 years now? I've gotten older and older right before your eyes. So I think it's like I love hanging out with you guys. You're my two faves. That's the honest truth in the world. And I think it opens up more opportunity for us to expand our creative connection for everybody. And what could be wrong with that, man? I'm looking forward to it with you guys, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Matt, any thoughts on our new venture that we're going on?
I'm so excited. It's going to be a really good time. I can't wait to have just all of our stuff in one place. It makes a ton of sense. And we're already up over 530 subscribers. 539 is the number right now. Right, the video that went live on there for the Talkin' Jets draft party, that's like the best. That's the highlight, right? Our time is coming. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, we'll be there.
Oh, man, the Talkin' Jets draft party that we've done the last few years is bananas. Like, I have not seen another draft party that is quite as electric as the one the Jets have had the last few years, specifically on this channel over here. William drops in with his 1 month member super chat. He says, I love all three of you, have all enhanced my life. Well, William, we're glad. That's what we're here for. That is a compliment beyond all compliments. So it's greatly, greatly appreciated.
William is the best. He's a stream beaner. He's a bean bagger. He's a talking jetter. He's the best. Love William Sprague, dude. He's the best.
I love it. This is the stuff that really makes me. Oh, see, B2B hops in. He said, yeah, if you guys want to let us know what number subscriber you are when you head over there. Ooh, let's do that. Instead of like Screen Bean, let's let the subscriber count. Like, as people mention what subscriber they are, let's qualify them.
Wait, hold
Let's
on.
do it that way.
All right,
That might
what
get
did you
confusing.
just say?
That might get too confusing.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
wait. All right.
Let's ignore what Ryan just said for that.
Okay. Done.
We're not going to do it. We want you leave a comment on that new video over on the Talkin' Jets channel, and that's how you're going to get qualified. It's just going to keep us from not like going too bonkers over here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun. We do a lot of stuff, together anyway, and just kind of saving my taxes a little bit when it comes time for tax season isn't necessarily the worst thing either.
Taking it from New Jersey or New York and bouncing it down to Florida is not too bad of an idea either, Ryan. I'm telling you.
No, you're on to something there, Green Bean. That seems like it makes a whole lot of sense.
That's right, dude.
Smart.
I love it. You know what? I'm gonna right now. I think we should show the draft promo trailer for those that haven't seen it. I was gonna surprise Green Bean, which I guess I'll surprise Green Bean with it right now, because I created this little animation. Oh my God, Green Bean! Do you see the cockroach on the screen?
Wait. Oh yeah, look. What's he doing? Did he go in my mouth?
There in the second is
The Jets traded up.
It just gets me so amped up.
Me too. I love it. I really do.
We surprised Joe Blewett last week with it. We're like, we're gonna advertise the draft stream. It's wild. We got quite the crew of guests coming up for this draft party. It's insane. The amount of guys we have. We got Johnny Ice Cream coming on. We got Fireman Ed coming on, along with all our favorite Jet content creators.
Everybody's coming.
Very excited. Very, very
everybody.
excited.
It's going to be great, dude. I can't wait. This is going to be the best one yet.
Ant Jets hops in. He goes, celebrating 24 months of membership. He says, I second that, William. This panel is great. I found you guys 2 years ago during the Jared Corey Davis moves. Now we're talking about getting Rodgers. Nice to be here and nice to be the hare and not the tortoise. Dude, I'm glad you found us then. You missed out on some really doom and gloom times just prior to that. That was like the start of Robert Saleh and starting to feel that little bit of a warmth, and then we had 2 straight years of getting kicked in the pants. But we're trending up. Aaron Rodgers possibly coming to the New York Jets. I think we all think that's eventually going to get done. We'll get into all those thoughts and everything like that. But yeah, it's come a long way. Seriously. Green Bean, could you have imagined when we started this 4 years ago that we'd be getting, at the time, the league MVP?
Dude, there is so much. So when we started, I think our first draft was 2020, was it?
Yes. It was the one with Becton.
Yeah. So we just got. No, it's 20. That's 20.
Oh.
Yeah, but we were hanging. We were doing shows together. We were hanging and doing stuff. The panel 2019. We still had Gase when we started. Mm-hmm. It's hard to imagine much when you're watching Adam Gase and what the hell was his name? Our running back, the guy. I'm
Frank Gore. running right into the line of scrimmage.
Dude, did you see somebody put out there on Twitter? I have it on my phone if you whatever. But our starting wide receiver group 3 years or 4 years ago, right before Joe Douglas, it was like Andre Roberts, Jermaine Curry. Did you see that, dude? It was like week 8 with a total of like 30 catches. The whole group. It was
Deontay
brutal,
Burnett.
dude. And that's the thing.
is
Like
ugly.
when people complain, it's like it takes a minute, all right? But we just won offensive and defensive rookie of the year. By the way, with picks that Joe Douglas manifested for us, okay? It's not, they didn't just, anybody could do it with 2 top 10. Yeah, well, he didn't have time. He made those, okay? So it's like this whole thing. It's tough.
The Giants had 2 top 10 picks. They had an offensive and a defensive player selected. They didn't get either one of offensive or defensive rookie of the year.
That's a great point.
And they made the
young
playoffs.
Ryan. See, that's a great point. And yeah, look, there's struggles and there's ups and downs and everything, but can you deny, like, look at how much different we are? The idea that Aaron Rodgers said publicly, my intention is to play, and my intention is to play for that shitbox team over there that hasn't done a damn thing in 15 years. Like, oh my God, that's us. And it's like, I don't want to, rub anybody's back. I was going to say something else too much, but it's nice to see, like you said, a multiple, back-to-back MVPs just a year ago with the offensive coordinator and wide receiver and backup quarterback that were with him. I don't think it's too bad of a situation. And like Joe Douglas said, he's going to be here. Everybody just calm down, relax. There's no urgency other than what we create in our own minds. Joe Douglas is as cool as a cucumber. He's the other side of the pillow, and we're going to be fine. He's coming, and it's going to be great. I can't believe it's real.
You know what that sort of reminded me of? I don't know if you guys are Superbad fans at all or have seen the movie, but like that conversation that they're having, they're like, you remember when you're sitting in class and that girl behind you said, oh, I shouldn't have slept with that guy last night. We could be that mistake. That's what we are. We could be that mistake for Aaron Rodgers. He could come here and we could be that right now. Ugh, it makes me all sorts of excited. Matt, could you have imagined that just 4 years ago we'd be talking about getting a stud at the quarterback position?
No, I'll never forget. There was we did a stream. We had Mario from the Bills channel on, and it was the first day of free agency. And the Jets' big addition on the first day was George Fant, and we were like, "Who the hell is George Fant?" At the time, a swing tackle from the Seahawks, who's going to be our starting left tackle. And here
former
we are.
tight end.
Yeah,
It's like who the hell is this guy?
Gerard Davis, our one free agent signing, to now we are talking about Aaron Rodgers potentially joining this team. I mean, honestly, perfect time to launch a channel now.
So, right? It might be the perfect time to subscribe to a channel as well.
I agree.
Hashtag
I think that's what everybody. Hashtag. That's so good.
Ant Jets drops in with an additional super chat. Thank you so much, dude. He says, thank you guys for providing endless content. Ant Jets, thank you so much for supporting us and all you guys in the chat. You know, whether it be through memberships, through super chats, through just liking the video, just telling a friend about, these weird guys on the internet that you watch on Tuesday nights. It all goes a long way. I want to acknowledge both Furious. Fear is Grim, upgrading his membership to the first class tier. Thank you so much. I see Mike upgrading his membership to the frequent flyer tier. Thank you so much. It is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. You guys have some cool emojis. I got to update those, have some more fun based on where we are at in the offseason. Maybe some Aaron Rodgers actions coming your way, something along those lines. But we got a little bit of news. That kind of, or maybe not, I guess it's news. How did you guys feel? Odell Beckham Jr. winds up signing for a 1-year, $18 million deal, $15 million of which is guaranteed with the Baltimore Ravens. So we wind up not getting the receiver we kind of thought we were going to get to replace Elijah Moore. So Green Bean, I want to toss it to you first. How did you feel about Odell signing with Baltimore, the contract that was given? And do you think the Jets may have flubbed up a little bit by trading away more, maybe thinking that they were going to get Odell? Do you think there's anything to that? Green Bean, what say you?
Well, here's why I'm frustrated with it, because I spent the last month making myself be okay with OBJ as a Jet, and then he gets, he goes somewhere. I'm like, this guy. This is why I don't like him. This is it. I don't like this guy. And now, if he was a Jet, I would have rooted for him. But of course, but I think 15 million is absurd. I'm glad we didn't do that. Potentially 18. I don't know. I don't know if they released that stuff or whatever, but what the the incentives are and all that shit. But the truth is dude, look at our wide receiver staff, our crew from a couple years ago. Right now it's Garrett Wilson, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis. He's still here. Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman. Like, dude, we're okay. Granted, the Elijah Moore thing is kind of it. Lots of people aren't happy about it. I don't really, I was looking forward to seeing what he could do with what we put together this year, but it is what it is. But even that, our wide receiver crew right now is pretty stout, and I think we're going to add somebody else, whether that's via the draft or maybe it's a D-Hop kind of a situation. But I'll tell you what, OBJ taking the 15 mil makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't you? The Jets, he's like, I bet he called Joe Douglas. He's like, hey, man, they're going to pay me 15. Can you get close? He's like, no. Well, where were you? 7. That's where I was. 7.3. So I don't know, man. I think, look, it's one of those things, but I had come to the acceptance phase of OBJ. He was coming here on Monday, physical, the whole thing. I was like, all right, well, it's going to happen. It is what it is. But I have major concerns. Number one, he's older. I still think he's uber talented, but he's, 2 ACLs and the whole thing. And there were lots of concerns, man. So I think probably we dodged a bullet. Let's hope this season proves us right.
Yeah, Matt, how are you feeling about this whole Odell thing, the contract, and do you think maybe, where do we go from here?
Yeah, for Green Bean, at least he didn't say in a video the day prior, it feels like a matter of when, not if, Odell Beckham signs with the New York Jets. That guy would have been an idiot if he came out and said that.
Right.
Although, 15, good for Odell for getting 15. Like, that's a really good contract for a guy who played as many snaps in the NFL as we did last year. Right. So good on him for that. If he looks like the guy he did during the Rams playoff run for a full season, then it's worth it. But I have my questions when he's 31 years old and has torn his ACL twice in the last 3 years. Can it work out? Yeah, it's a possibility. Obviously, we all said it. He's an extremely talented guy, but I think some people were glossing over the injury risk with Odell.
Yeah, I think the whole time listening to the Odell stuff, I was hoping like, okay, I just want the money to match up with my concern for his health. And as long as he's on the field, like I don't even necessarily need to like create stats that are going to be milestones for him. Like for me, it was just being healthy and available. And the fact that he called up the Jets and said, hey, yo, guys, could you match this? Like I would love to play for you guys instead of Baltimore, but look, I got to do what's right by me. And Joe Douglas is like, yeah, dude, do what's right by you. 15 million, not happening, dude. And I'm glad Joe Douglas said that, and I'm glad that Odell, obviously we weren't going to work out with the money, unfortunately. But yeah, I think the injury concern was the biggest thing for me, and I didn't want to be on the hook for the guaranteed money with a player that might only play 7 games this season. He's averaged 7 games over the course of the last 3 years. Someone was telling me he's had only 2 50-yard games in the last 4 years, I think is what it was. I didn't fact check that, so don't hold me to that.
Fake news.
Fake news. Sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, Odell kind of scared me a little bit, but the thought of him coming in and being wide receiver 2 or 3 as a compliment to everyone else, that was attractive. And I think for a lot of fans, we sort of sit back and we say, all right, well, where do we go from here? Because do we pivot to someone in the draft like a Jackson Smith-Njigba, or do we maybe look towards a trade or maybe a free agent acquisition of DeAndre Hopkins if he ends up getting cut? So, Green Bean, I want to throw it to you real quick. What do you think about the prospects of adding a receiver via the draft or possibly bringing one in via free agency or a trade, specifically the Hopkins stuff?
Yeah, well, the draft is interesting, right? Because I don't think let's take a look here. Joe Douglas has used his second round pick on a wide receiver 2 of the 3 years, and the 1 year that he didn't use the first round pick on a wide receiver, right? So he's taken a wide receiver every year with a premium draft pick, right? Which is smart, by the way. You wanted those, we were talking about it last night in the 10 o'clock mock. It's like there are positions of high turnover and high burnout, running backs, wide receivers, even offensive linemen and stuff, developing on the pipeline. There are positions that you want to just stock. The Steelers do it. The Ravens do it. The good teams do it. And they've done it for a long, long time. I think it makes a lot of sense that Joe Douglas would want to, take a wide receiver. But I've had people say to me, now that OBJ is not on the, going to be coming, that pushes the wide receiver maybe into the first round. I mean, look, anything's possible. And after friggin' Sauce Gardner getting taken at 4 last year, I am no longer as resigned to my position as I used to be, you see. I'm like, okay, maybe anything can happen. I still struggle to think that we're going to use the first round pick on a wide receiver. We have 2 seconds currently. We give one away to the Packers in the Rodgers trade. That leaves us with 1. I don't even think we have a couple holes, man. And offensive tackles. So we don't have a center, everybody. I just want to make sure that's clear. And it happens to be a class of centers that there's a really nice bunch of centers, 4, maybe 6, depending on how you look at it, of guys that really could be plug and play. So grabbing those 2 guys and pushing wide receiver maybe down a little bit. There's a few guys out there. Bryce Ford Wheaton is a guy that I like, dude. Take him in the 4th if he's there at 112. Getting somebody like that, I think it might be a year that we see Joe Douglas hold off a little bit on wide receiver if we do, indeed go with the draft. Now, again, if it's D-Hop, I think Joe Douglas will probably wait till he's cut. I mean, we've heard rumors about that. I thought it looked like it was going to happen. It sounded imminent, but who knows? But you wait till he's cut, and then he's going to probably command something like what OBJ got. The difference is he's probably worth it. OBJ, for all of his talent, D-Hop put up numbers that, I mean, even with the suspension or whatever the hell it was last year, he still put up over 1,000 yards, if I remember correctly. I mean, he was on pace for 1,500. I mean, he's still D-Hop. So it makes a little bit more sense to me, maybe. Yeah, I think it could go. I mean, we were in the market for OBJ, so I don't know why D-Hop would be out of the question, but I think it would. I think we're going to probably do something in the draft in the 4th round. We have a bunch of vets as at wide receiver, and I think a young guy coming in could be smart.
Yeah, so I think for me, my first take would be Corey Davis is kind of interesting. Do we let him play on his $10.5 million? I don't know if it's fully $10.5 million. It might be a little bit more than that, but 10.5 is what we would get if we cut him. If we let him play in a contract year with his back against the wall, that's kind of interesting. The other thought is you go into the draft. If Joe Douglas thinks he can accomplish, finding another tackle outside of round 1, then maybe that becomes a little bit more intriguing of an option for wide receiver. And honestly, JSN is probably the only receiver that I would consider taking in this draft, at least higher up in the draft. So there's something to the JSN stuff with linking him with Garrett Wilson. But I think the Corey Davis stuff should be looked at, a lot more optimistically, because clearly the Packers tried to trade for Corey Davis in the past. So to some level, Aaron Rodgers wanted to play with Corey Davis. And it could have been a conversation like, hey, look, I would love to have Odell, if you can make that happen. If you can't, I would have loved to have played with Corey Davis in the past. Maybe there's a situation where Corey Davis is, extended for an extra year. We drop his salary cap hit for this season, give him guaranteed money over 2 years. And now all of a sudden you have a guy that's respected in the locker room, knows the other players, can be a vet. It would be another top 5, I shouldn't say another, but he would be a top 5 selection at wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers, who's never had a first round caliber wide receiver to go along with Garrett Wilson. And look, Garrett Wilson, or not Garrett Wilson, sorry, Corey Davis, look at the quarterbacks he's played with. Ryan Tannehill, Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco. Aaron Rodgers is significantly better. So I understand like the drops were a little bit of a concern, the injuries were a little bit of concern, but like I kind of really like the Corey Davis route, and then combining that with a tackle in the first round, a center in the second round, and kind of go that route, as opposed to maybe drafting a wide receiver when we're already kind of rich at that sort of position. It's not fully complete, but I feel like we're a little more well off than maybe some other positions. Matt, where do you fall on drafting a wide receiver, or like going after Hopkins or something along those lines?
Yeah, I would like to go after DeAndre Hopkins, personally. I think if he's cut, and I do think he will end up being cut, because I don't see the Cardinals getting the return that they would probably like for him. I just don't see it. And he's probably going to get something similar, like Green Bean said, to what Odell did. But he played last year and played really well with Trace McSorley and Colt McCoy throwing him the football. Like, the guy could still play. So I would be in on that. I'm warming to the idea of JSN at 13. It's not my preferred route. I would much rather go offensive tackle. If all three tackles are gone, maybe you go JSN there, even though my preference would be to trade down and draft the tackle from Tennessee. But I think I would rather go the veteran route. Corey is probably okay as a wide receiver 3 or 4 if like worse comes to worse. Because like as you said, he's okay, but he can't be that like wide receiver 1 or 2. If he's asked to be wide receiver 3 or 4, is he a pricey version of that? Yes, but I think you can survive it when you have a guy like Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Mecole Hardman, and maybe a resurgent Denzel Mims. So, I don't like love the idea of drafting one, but if they did go that route, I kind of understand why with JSN.
Yeah, Hopkins is interesting for me because I love the talent. And if you were to ask me, would you rather Odell at X price or Hopkins at X price, it would be Hopkins all day. My issue with it is more so that I think Hopkins is worth more than Odell. And I also think I wouldn't have wanted Odell at that price, more so because of the price. And I don't know if the $15 million is enough. Like, I think I would rather pass on Hopkins for that price tag. Now, if you want to get creative with the cap and all of a sudden his cap hit is like minuscule and you're adding some void years and it's not too much in dead cap, then I'm probably a little more receptive to it. I do think we should just go all in these next 2 years, and adding someone like DeAndre Hopkins, who has a very high likelihood of possibly going to play for his former head coach in Bill O'Brien up in New England. I think I would prefer to have him on our squad instead of having to go against him in New England. But we'll see where it all shakes out. 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷 comes in with a super chat. He says, what do you think of not drafting a player 13th and getting a high-end veteran? Could go any position, really, go all in. We can trade back into the first. If a player falls, I believe we still have our 2 seconds. So we do have our 2 seconds, and you're saying give up number 13 for a high-impact stud. Generally speaking, if you were to do that, you're probably taking on a big contract too, which is something we can't really facilitate right now. I don't think, without adding like a lot of cap into next year, which I'm not too crazy about. I like the idea of getting a cheap 5-year player personally, specifically at the tackle position and building that wall in front of Aaron Rodgers. If I were to look at a player, honestly, I don't think there is a player. Like we're even talking about an MVP Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and I have no desire to give up 13 for him. Granted, that's like the age thing too. I don't think there's a player out there that really like jumps out at me as like, oh, hey, I want to pay that dude a ton of money and give up number 13 overall. It's kind of a this or that situation. Green Bean, where do you stand on possibly trading the 13th pick and trying to get a high-end veteran?
You know, it's funny in the mock. I don't know if you guys know, the PFN mock has added players to their trades, right? So it's interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's nice. So we got a trade last night in the first. We slid back with Green Bay. We flipped picks with Green Bay, right? So we were at 15, and then the Panthers came in. They wanted us to slide back a little bit, and for that, they would give us Derek Brown.
Ooh,
I was like, ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, he's like Dom said. Well, dude, he's going to be wanting a Quinnen contract in any minute. You know what I mean? So you got that. So there's that concern. But boy, oh boy, now like what 𝐒𝐿𝐿 is saying here. So we have holes, and we're going all in on Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to keep our first round pick because Joe Douglas isn't going to give it up in the trade. So if we end up taking that pick and getting just Derek Brown, and we can take that hole out of the equation that way, that's not a bad way to go about it, man. It's just like, dude, go all in. You're going all in for a 1 or 2 year period. You have a nice young core. You have a smattering of cheap contracts on really high quality players, Sauce, Garrett, and the like. And just if you can take those holes, imagine Quinnen and Brown next to each other, dude. And then you got Jefferson coming in at depth. Like now we're talking, dude. Now we're gonna start kicking people's teeth in. And it might be a way to go. And maybe you can do that for a tackle, or if you feel that way, or what have you. But yeah, that's kind of how the Rams did it. And look, the Rams are doing their whole start over thing. That's fine. But guess what they got? They got a ring. We've been doing start over things with a roll of toilet paper, so we don't know shit. You know what I mean? Like they got a ring out of it, so it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth considering, but it would have to be kind of like the right fit, because don't forget, 𝐒𝐿𝐿. The other benefit of using your pick is that contract. So that's the other side of it, the cheap contract for 4 and potentially 5 years.
Matt, how do you feel about possibly trading 13 for a high-end player? And who would you possibly maybe consider? Or even a position group?
I don't like the idea. With all due respect to our guy 𝐒𝐿𝐿, I am not a fan of that idea. Because you're obviously trading for Aaron Rodgers, and I get it, you're going all in, but I don't know how you're going to be able to make that work and potentially pass up on drafting a offensive tackle who you have cheap and under control for 5 years. I think that's the move there. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, DT, wherever they decide to go in the first round, I would prefer to go that route than an expensive veteran with a big contract. I just don't. And there's no one really even like jumping out where it's like, ooh, they're on the market and they could be had for a first round pick. That guy isn't really like, we're talking about maybe trading for DeAndre Hopkins. If you do have to give up picks for him, it's not going to be much because of the contract. Yeah, like look at what Brandon Cooks got traded for peanuts. It'd be something similar to that. So I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that would even make sense in that spot.
Yeah, I kind of fall in line with that as well. William drops in with another super chat. He says, I wish I had a lot of money. It would go to you three. Dude, $2 is more than we could ever ask for. It's greatly appreciated. We will duke it out. We'll do a good round of rock, paper, scissors shoot to see who gets the Arnold Palmer iced teas and see who gets left out in the cold. I'm kidding. Thank you so much. Hennessy drops in. Hennessy says, miss on Tyreek, got Garrett Wilson. Miss on OBJ, we get JSN. So yeah, you never know what happens, right? You miss out on Odell all of a sudden, or you miss out on Tyreek Hill, you take Garrett Wilson at number 10. If we got Tyreek Hill, there's a good chance we would have taken Jermaine Johnson at number 10. So you're missing that a huge amount of value in terms of where you took Jordan, lose my train of thought here. Jermaine Johnson. Too many J's. JSN, Jermaine Johnson, JFM. Trying to keep all my numbers straight. And then you think about the 2 second-round picks we would have given up for Tyreek Hill. So you're already saying, oh, hey, we wouldn't have had Breece Hall, and we wouldn't have had the ability to get back up into the first round to select another player anyway. So missing on Tyreek Hill is one of the best things that could have happened to the Jets. It just kind of sucks they wound up in our division. Instead of JSN, or instead of OBJ, you get JSN? I'm lukewarm on it. I don't want to go receiver, I'll be honest. If they make the move, I'll have faith because obviously Garrett Wilson and Olave both say this guy was the better receiver of the three of them. And clearly I don't know how to rank Ohio State wide receivers. So I'm going to defer to the pros there. Sorless drops in celebrating 26 months of membership, says, hope you guys are doing well, hyped for the draft. I'm excited, Sorless. You better be there hanging out with us all 3 days of the draft, like Sorless is going to be. Jet for two comes in, says, I don't care if O'Leary wants to make me Captain Peanut of the Peanut Gallery, but missing out on OBJ was the best thing that could have happened. Matt, you think it's the best thing that could have happened, missing out on Odell?
I mean, I was not a fan of going after Odell. I'm not victory lapping them not signing him. I think if they did sign him for $15 million, I would have been like, all right, why did Joe Douglas go full Mike McCagnon? You never go full Mike McCagnon there.
No.
But no,
we would have saw the war room with Joe Douglas, and he'd have all the Starbucks cups all over the place.
Yeah. No, this would not get you on Peanut Gallery. It's a little bit of a hot take because the best thing that could have happened, I don't know if I would go like that far, but this is not Peanut Gallery worthy of a take. So you get a pass.
Blitzcrew hops in. He says, congrats to AVT on getting married. Ooh, I did not know that. So congrats to him. Yeah. I think our first two picks are offensive tackle and center. If not that, would be defensive tackle. I still stand by there is no reason for the Jets to give up any picks in 2023 to facilitate an Aaron Rodgers trade. Unless Green Bay comes back to us with a deal that's more attractive than using all our picks on players to help Aaron Rodgers, which I don't think they're going to be able to do. They would have to eat a ton of salary cap right now for me to want to make the move prior to the draft. So I'm using both second-round picks here, Blitzcrew. But I agree. Tackle at 13, center at 42, and then 43, have your fun at defensive tackle, linebacker, or safety, whichever one you feel provides the most value to you at that point. Green Bean, how do you feel about using our first two picks on tackle and center, or possibly defensive tackle?
Yeah, it's what I want to see, actually. I want them to use the first round pick on a tackle. I'd love to. I mean, look, it depends on who's there, right? So that all being said, I would love to see them just make sure that there's a brick wall in front of Aaron Rodgers and that we could weather another similar injury wave that we saw last year at the position. I have faith in Becton. I know a lot of Jets fans don't, and for good reason. He's 23 years old. So, I mean, looks great. He's taking it seriously. He's realizing, man, my career is sliding down the drain and I'm going to have the rest of my life. And I blew it. You know what I mean? So because I wanted to sleep in Texas instead of playing at the facility and whatever. And I think he's taking it seriously and he's got a good shot, man. And we might be looking at this as just a bad luck beginning and he's our tackle for the next however many years. No matter what, I think he's going to be good this year if he's on the field. We got to remember how badass he was. We have Dwayne Brown. He's there, but he's here for 1 year, period. And there's nothing to say that if you get a Broderick Jones or something, that doesn't beat him out, man. And having Dwayne Brown and Max Mitchell backing these guys up is not a bad deal, dude. And I think that would be really good. Now, that said, again, I mentioned it earlier, we don't have a center. All right. Now they're talking about maybe the Jets pivot and go grab Connor McGovern. Okay, but that's real. We were looking for an upgrade. And the truth is that we can upgrade, even in the draft. All right, we whiffed on a couple guys that we were talking to in free agency. We still got, some guys that are out there that we're interested in, but they have concerns, and that's all well and good. I think first-round pick is a tackle unless the guys that you have first-round grades are gone, and in which case I believe it's defensive tackle or safety, free safety, if possible. And then I think second-round pick is going to be a center. That's what I think. I think it's fantastic, Blitzcrew.
Matt, how are you feeling about using the first two picks, offensive tackle, center, or possibly defensive tackle? How do you kind of see this playing out?
I would love to OT in round 1, center in round 2, and sign Ben Jones too, and have the center sit behind it. Because even if Right. The thing you hear about Ben Jones is he had the concussion problems last year, so he might not give you a full season. Okay. Well, then you have someone you feel comfortable with who can come in and play if needed, but then you have him in a perfect world sit behind Jones for a year, who will be that stopgap and then can be that 10+ year starter, hopefully. That would be my preference. I also like the idea of defensive tackle. Like, again, my dream is one of the top 3 tackles at 13. If that is off the table and they went like 𝐒𝐭𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐬𝐿, I would not be upset with that, because him next to Quinnen Williams, I think, would be devastating on the interior of that defensive line.
Yeah, I'm kind of in this weird spot with the Ben Jones and like Connor McGovern sort of thing. Like, part of me wants to sign Ben Jones to hide the fact that we need a center, so we hopefully don't have someone leapfrogging in front of us to steal that center. The other part of me thinks like, well, if Ben Jones and Connor McGovern are still sitting there, then maybe we don't put any money towards them and you wait and see who falls to you at center. Then you select that center, and then you base your veteran backup on, or maybe it's not veteran backup, maybe it's the guy that starts in place of the second round pick in case he's not ready to go. But I think then maybe you can, if you don't get the center that you want falling to you, now all of a sudden you go, okay, hey, Connor McGovern. Okay, hey, Ben Jones. Now, I think that probably gives the veteran a little bit more leverage over us as far as price, kind of like what we saw with Dwayne Brown as soon as Mekhi Becton went down. So I guess I kind of talked myself out of that. Yeah, do Ben Jones before the draft. I want the nasty streak. I'm kind of over the Connor McGovern experience. Matt, are you kind of in that same boat as far as the Connor McGovern stuff goes?
Yeah, I'm all good there. It really rubbed me the wrong way, like when Zach or whoever was getting pushed around back there, and it was kind of like, oh hum, like no big deal. Sam, even, like, it was never like, there was no edge. And I'm not saying you got to go full Ryan Jensen or anything like that either, but like have your guys back every once in a while.
Oh, dude, I want like throw the gloves off. Let's get the penalty. I don't care. Let them know not to touch our quarterback next time. Like that's one of like the okay times that you want to get a penalty, but I guess situational football.
Who was it? Was it Breno Giacomini who had like an incredibly short? Who am I thinking of on like that era Jets team who had like a real short fuse? Was it him?
That sounds right.
Yeah, he was. He was a fighter.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I want someone that's going to start throwing fists. Like I want our other guys to pull him back. Like I want a rabid dog going after like, the guy that. For a bad hit. Now, I'm not talking about a football play. I'm talking about like, I went low on your quarterback unnecessarily. Like, okay, here come the gloves. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, totally. Man, it's funny. I made a video like two years ago or something for Jet Nation, and I looked at the types of penalties that offensive linemen were getting and the difference. And you got people saying, "Oh, the guy gets too many penalties," but like, yeah, but dude, they're roughing penalties. You know what I mean? So he's grabbing the defensive tackle and he's letting them know who's boss. That's significantly different than a hold because the guy's beating the shit out of him around the head.
I could play. Oh, we lost Green Bean.
No.
It was so good. You know what? Here, I could do this. We won't even realize he's gone because he's frozen. He's gonna come back like, what the hell? Why'd you guys do that to me? That's all right. We'll let that flow over there. Joe drops in with a super chat. He says, took a deep dive on this year's tight ends. I think there should be 4 or 5 guys that can make an instant impact. Thoughts on using a day 2 pick on tight end? So, Joe, I'm actually kind of with you on this. In my research as far as like tight end and wide receiver, I actually like the tight ends significantly more than I like the wide receivers in this class. That being said, the thought of bringing one in instead... Hold on, I froze you, Green Bean. I know you're back there. There we go. Now you're back.
What happened? What did you do?
I don't know. You got booted, so I was like, oh, well, I want Freeze Bean here. Booted. I want to look at someone. So then I froze you after.
Booted? I was in trouble?
I don't know. Probably. Timeout. Sit in your corner.
All right.
My parents used to have me sit on the stairs.
I was talking.
when I was in timeout.
Talking.
Yeah, the stairs.
Ugh. Miserable. So, Green Bean, Joe drops in with a super chat. He says, took a deep dive into this year's tight ends. I think there could be 4 or 5 guys that can make an instant impact. Thoughts on using a day 2 pick on tight end? So, my issue with using any pick on a tight end is because of the restructures to both Conklin and Uzomah and drafting Ruckert last year. Like, to me, we have our tight ends locked in for the next 2 years. unless Joe Douglas is possibly thinking of using one of those tight ends as some type of trade chip later on in the season, or not later on in the season, but later on into the offseason. The Packers do need a tight end, so that could be something that might be attractive a little later on. I do like the idea of adding a tight end. I just don't like a first-round tight end because you have to be elite to be worthy of that type of selection. And if you look at like the top tight ends taken the last 10 years, the first tight end is generally like pretty cringeworthy. I think there's like 2 guys that are worth their salt. You could get great tight ends in rounds 4, 5, 6. I would not spend a high pick on a tight end right now, knowing what we have already on the roster. I would prefer to go JSN at this point over any of the tight end prospects. And then even in the second round, like let's say we go tackle in the first round, center with one of our picks in the second round. If we keep the other second round pick, I would prefer to go any one of defensive tackle, safety, linebacker before even considering tight end at all. Green Bean, where do you stand on the tight end class for this year? And do you think a day 2 pick might be worth a consideration?
Well, we don't have a third, right? So that means our second round pick. Sadly, I mean, you kind of outlined it, Ryan. You know, we took Ruckert last year, which as much as we love him and we love his dad and the whole thing, right? We love it. It was a weird pick. Let's just call it what it was. I think everybody went, ooh, really? And I loved a lot of these tight ends. This is a very good tight end class, in my opinion. I mean, I love so many of these guys. I spent time watching them. I like that Sam Laporta. I liked him last year. He chose to stay in school. You know, I like him. I liked it. I mean, Notre Dame, every friggin' year there's a Notre Dame tight end that everybody loves. But I mean, dude, I'll tell you who doesn't suck being taken near the top is good old Pat Freiermuth, baby. That's a dude. That's a stud. We knew it. We called it. And he is it. He's the real deal. I think this class has a few of those guys, but I just don't know. Like you said, unless they're like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of Conklin. Somebody wants him. I can get a third for Conklin, and then I'm gonna use my this on that and use that on, you know, if Luke Musgrave, slides down and, you know, something like that. I think it's a possibility. Other than that, man, I think we're stacked. You know what I mean? And again, like as fun as all this shit is, and no one likes tight ends more than me. Okay. I've consciously not said shit. You see how quiet I was on the tight end shit this year?
You've been like radio silence this year.
That is by design, man. That is hard to do. I'm just telling you. I've been talking tight ends for 10 years. I just said, I'm not doing it. I'm not. But, you know, it's like we have actual holes. You know, we have needs. And, you know, even like Ruckert last year, like using grabbing 2 guys in free agency and then a 3rd round pick on a tight end was a head scratcher, in my opinion. Again, I liked the pick. I liked the player. I liked the story. So that's all well and good. We didn't see him last year, except they put him into one play, he dove on his face, and they're like, get out, LaFleur. Who knows what happened, right? But I think Ruckert is a stud in waiting. Honestly, I think he's going to have a fantastic career. I love having him. And that said, I don't know if you can really justify using a, you know, first 2 round pick on a tight end, unless, like Ryan said, you already know you're getting at least a third for one of the guys that you have on your squad now.
Yeah, I think if there were one tight end that would be moved, I think it would be Conklin. I think the familiarity between him in Minnesota and then the Green Bay Packers, I think they might find that a little bit attractive. I think of the 2, he might have been a little bit more disappointing than 𝐒𝐿 just because of some of the drops and in bigger moments. But yeah, I have a hard time wrapping my head around tight end. I love Dalton Kincaid from Utah. I think he's going to be a stud. I really like him. Matt, where do you stand on this tight end conversation? Do you think that it's possible the Jets could use a top 2-day pick on one of these guys?
I have a very hard stance on it. Don't do it, please. And look, if Green Bean, Mr. Tight End himself, is saying no to the tight end, that should tell you all you need to know. And I hear it. I did a video on it earlier today. It was called "Why Do People Continue to Mock Tight Ends to the Jets in these mock drafts?" I don't get it. In the 1st and 2nd round, you can't look at this team with the potential need for another receiver, offensive tackle, center, interior defensive line, linebacker, and safety, and say, I'm going to use a top 50 pick on a tight end after using a day 2 pick on a tight end last year and giving big contracts to 2 tight ends last year as well. I understand you can get out of one or maybe both, but I would be surprised if they got out of both after next year. I think it would be Conklin. But give Ruckert a shot. The guy blocked his ass off when he was given the limited reps. Can we see what he is before we draft someone in the first 2 rounds? We see guys on day 2 at that position. Tight end and running back are 2 positions that you find really, really great value on in like that 2nd to 4th round. That's the sweet spot for me. I think it's some of the first round tight ends who have gone in the last 10 years or so a little bit overrated. Not Pat Freiermuth, though, who's a 2nd rounder, by the way, Green Bean. So he is exempt from this list. But it just doesn't make sense for this Jets team where they are. They need offensive line help. They need another wide receiver, not another tight end. And they need help on the interior of the defensive line. It's a no from me.
J-Boy hops in, says, who do you guys want in week 1? I want New England in New England. I want the Jets, Giants, Monday night, 9/11. There's the storyline of Robert Sala's brother being in one of the towers. I think that would be a very captivating story. I do like the idea of going against New England because we haven't beaten them in so long. To start the season with a chance to kind of exercise that demon would be a lot of fun. So I'm good kind of either way on either one of those. Matt, your thoughts. Who do you want week 1?
Giants on Monday Night Football for the New York storyline for, September 11th. It means a lot to the city and, the impact that it's had. I think it would be, I think that would be the best way to open up the season.
Green Bean, what about you? Is there a particular opponent you would like to see us face week 1?
Well, it's tough for me this year because
you want it on the road, right?
I want it on the road because I'm going to be I'm going to be watching the game. I might even live stream, but I'm going to be at the Blue Ridge Metal Fest for my son. I have to take him, dude. So it's a 4-day festival. I'll be down there. I got backstage passes for Pantera and all that kind of shit.
God.
So
wow.
Yeah. My best buddy in the world is like really, he was in Black Label Society with Zakk Wylde, and Zakk Wylde's in Pantera and all that shit. So I'm getting a full. So I got to take my son to that. So I'm hoping that opening day is like Monday night in Kansas City or some shit like that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping. But I get it. I think what you guys are saying. I mean, the Giants makes a ton of sense. I'm just hoping that, like, worst case scenario, like let's say the Packers hold out till like September for this trade, and Aaron Rodgers comes in and he gets a little bit, but he's rusty and everything, and then I think about the most painless game to lose. You know what I mean? But I'm all cockeyed right now. You got to give me a sec. But I think the Giants game would be magical. That's probably the way they're going to do it too, I would think.
Yeah, and not to mention J-Boy's comment, the New England in New England or the Giant Jet game. It's a Giant home game, so that would achieve the same thing that we've been talking about, where we get to have our home opener week 2, which is not so bad.
Yeah,
I like
that. That would work for me. That means I'm going to have a busy month. That's what it means.
I love it. Party with Peg and Artie. Oh man, I'm excited. Are we invited to the party? Sounds like we are.
It's a great name.
New member.
I just wrote it down. I was like, yeah, I like these guys.
It's a great name.
Peg.
Well, I don't know if it's Peg or Artie. I mean, it could be either one. Right now, we're gonna call Peg and Artie. Peg and Artie says, a new member from 2 weeks ago. Thank you. Says, you guys do a great job. Think JD trades one of the second picks and next year's to move up this year. I do think that's possible. I think with where the Jets are currently sitting, if an Aaron Rodgers trade doesn't get done on draft day, which I'm hoping it does not, I'm totally good with utilizing picks either more this year, a pick next year. Go get the guy you think can go contend or help us contend for a Super Bowl. If that's moving up, getting the 5-year contract for a center, I'm okay with that. If that's moving up and getting a defensive tackle that they like that's dropping or something along those lines, all about it. All the trade ups that I've seen Douglas do so far, I've been pretty enthusiastic about. So I have no concerns if they were to go that route. I'm fine with going and getting our guy as opposed to sitting back and hoping our guy is there. Matt, where do you fall on possibly trading back into the first round, maybe using a pick from next year's draft?
I would not do that. If you're gonna trade, I would do the trade down from 13 to like that 19 to 23 land, and maybe pick up another second this year so that you can have your first and 2 seconds this year. Because like there's a chance you're probably, well, I mean, if everything goes well, you're hoping that you don't have your 2024 first round pick, right? That it was conditioned to go to them because you won the Super Bowl or something. So get your top picks in again for another year, and then you go from there. But I'd be surprised if they packaged picks to get up into the first round for another time this year.
Green Bean, how do you feel about possibly swinging some picks to get back into the first round? We saw Douglas do it last year. Do you think that's something he's going to be considering right now, or do you think he kind of takes the approach of more shots at that dartboard are better than trying to force one with one individual player, but losing maybe 2 players in the process?
The thing is it's a lot easier to get from 35 to, back in the first, and from 42 or 43, whatever one we end up keeping. It's a whole different thing. Like, we were able to give up essentially, I mean, what did we do in the Jermaine Johnson? We got back in the first by flip-flopping third. So we didn't lose our third. We just went back in the third round, and then we gave a 5th. So it was like, I mean, Joe Douglas magic, another magic trade, but that's not going to be able to happen if you're at 42. You know what I mean? That's another 10 picks or so later so that, you remember, like, if you look at that first like 6 or 7 picks of the second round, there's some real studs that come out of that group consistently every single year. It seems to be. And once you start getting into the 40s, it starts to wane, and teams know that, so it'll be more expensive. I think he'll try. I think because of the Aaron Rodgers thing, it does shift. We saw Joe Douglas get a little bit more aggressive last year with all those trade ups as opposed to the trade backs. But I think the Aaron Rodgers things, idea would kind of lead you to the idea that he's going to want to get the highest quality, but I don't know if he'll have the ammo to pull it off.
Just so you guys know, 42 and 43 are valued at just under 500 points, 480 and 470. To get up to where Dallas is at 26, that is the difference of, what is that? Dallas is valued at 700 points, so you're talking 220-point difference. That's about the value of pick 74 that was given to Cleveland in the Elijah Moore trade. So to get back up, you're probably talking, you might have to talk a second-round pick next year to hop back up to the tail end of the first. I don't know. I think 42 and 43 are high enough for me that I'm okay sitting there and getting the prospects that fall as opposed to losing an additional, player. Now, if you package both second-round picks, which I really don't want to do either, that's the equivalent of like 900 points, which gets you somewhere around pick 17 or so. I don't know. I don't think there's enough top-end talent in this draft that would make me feel compelled to go up. I think really the only one that sort of interests me is possibly the 5-year contract for the center. And that would probably require you leapfrogging the Giants possibly at the tail end of the first. And I don't know if we're going to give up that many picks. We'll see where we go. Steve Love drops in the super
That's
chat.
a great point, though, Ryan. I just want to second what you said. It's a great point. This draft, I mean, dude, if you really dig into a lot of the positional groups, you'll see it pales. Like, just overall, it's kind of great players are going to come out of it, no doubt. But it's kind of a weak class, man. Like, trading up and getting nuts in this class is kind of a silly move. The only thing that can justify it is that you're just trying to get the absolute best for that potentially 1 year with Aaron Rodgers. That's the only thing that would make sense.
Completely agree. Steve Love hops in, says, didn't need tight end last year, don't need one this year. Yeah, I mean, right, we sort of saw what our offense was like, and we didn't really utilize the tight ends properly last year. And I think just utilizing tight ends the correct way this year should go a little bit further. I don't think we need to spend a high pick on one. I agree. Mumtaz, what's up, dude? He drops in with a $10 super chat. Says Darnell Wright is another offensive tackle that is rising. Kuiper has him going as first offensive tackle off the board. I think we have 3 credible wide receivers. Why do we need a 4th? We don't have a dominant linebacker or any center, and we should get one. Yeah, look, I think one of these top 3 picks has to be a center, first and foremost. Tackle-wise, if you can get someone to bite on a trade down, like if JSN's sitting there for the Jets, and let's say there's only been 1 tackle taken before the Jets, if you can convince someone to come up, or heck, maybe it's even so much as the Packers. Maybe now there's a decision where it's like, hey, you know, we're comfortable with a bunch of players that are on our board at 13 right now, and if we trade down to 15 with you, and you hop up to 13, if we don't have to give up certain additional picks because of this move being facilitated, well, maybe having the Packers jump in front of the Patriots to take JSN away from them or something along those lines may not be the worst decision. It's almost like a addition by subtraction of draft pick, almost. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Darnell Wright's an interesting one, but because of the tackles and how deep it feels like we may be, like we might be 5 or 6 tackles deep in this draft that I would feel comfortable starting early on. Maybe not, week 1, but I think early on. Some are kind of slated to be maybe guards. Some are slated maybe to be right tackles. I still fall with Paris Johnson Jr. and Broderick Jones as my 2 favorites for that pick. But Darnell Wright has been creeping up boards. Matt, have you done any research on Darnell Wright, and how are you feeling about tackles overall in this class?
Yeah, I don't see how you could possibly put him over Broderick Jones, Peter Skoronski, and Paris Johnson and like those guys. But if you need someone like in a trade back scenario that we talked about, I think he would be a target. I don't think he's someone who could play left tackle, but I do think he can play right tackle and play it right away. So if you're comfortable with Mekhi Becton and Dwayne Brown battling it out for left tackle, and then you have Darnell Wright slotted in as your right tackle, and you want to do it that way, you can sell me on that. I just think, me personally, if you're in a spot at 13 when either of the top 3 guys are there, I would much rather take one of those guys than move back and take Darnell Wright, who I think can be just a solid starting level right tackle, which again has value, but I think the upside is more with the other 3.
Yeah, I think there's also something to be said for how Douglas values Becton and where he could possibly be. Like, if he thinks we want to try Becton to let him have that opportunity to start at left tackle, but you want the security of having another tackle, maybe you're not taking one at 13 then. Maybe it is either a trade down or at a different round. Joe Douglas was part of the Philadelphia Eagles when they made the selection of their now left tackle in like the 6th or 7th round. So they can find talent outside of round 1. And I think that's probably the most frustrating part for me with Joe Douglas is he's an offensive line scout by trade. And the fact that we have to use so many first round picks on offensive linemen feels like we're missing out on a little bit of value there. And that's like the little bit of me that feels like maybe you go defensive tackle or maybe you go wide receiver in the first round. But I'm panicked. Like Matt was saying, I would prefer the tackle that could just kind of slot in and sort of solve what was a major problem last year. Green Bean, how do you feel about the tackle class this year and possibly, maybe either trading down or how do you feel about these first round guys?
I like them. I don't think I feel the same way as, like, for example, the 2020 tackle class. I thought those guys were studs. I mean, these guys are good. I like Skoronski more than he's getting. Like, there seems to be like a fall from grace for him. It has to do with his little tiny alligator arms. You know what I mean? Little Tyrannosaurus Rex. But, and that's all good. I think he's going to be there. I think that he's going to slide because of his arms. It's rare. I think there's a handful of guys in recent NFL history that have done anything or let's say made the Pro Bowl with his arm length. And that's real, man. You got to pay attention to that stuff. Talking about Darnell Wright, I like Darnell Wright, but I agree. I think he's going to need a minute. I mean, he's got coordination stuff. He's very experienced. He plays both sides. He got all kinds of upside, man. But that, the worst thing that you can do for guys with upside is go, oh yeah, you got upside here. Go play. Go out there and in New York and just do you, dude. And then he sucks and we're like, you got to kill yourself and all that kind of stuff. And then it's over and it's the fucking upside out the window. So I think Darnell Wright's an interesting guy. I think he's going to be good, but I think he needs a minute. And like you said, maybe not even a whole year, but he's got to get with your offensive staff. He's got to work. Now, if you feel like you need that tackle right away, I wouldn't do it. But if you feel good about Becton, you feel good about Mitchell, you feel good about Dwayne Brown, he might be the perfect pick. Slide back, get your second, extra second, a third, whatever it is, and then you grab Darnell Wright. So you weren't going to play your rookie anyway, and now you got the perfect guy to develop, and you made some money on the deal. So I think it could be interesting. It all depends on how you look at it, but yeah, if the deal's there, I think Joe Douglas might consider it.
Corey Washington hops in, says, if this trade doesn't happen before or during the draft and we build this team up around Aaron and Hackett offense, will Green Bay ask for a first for him then? So here's what I would like to see happen. I want to use every single pick this year to surround what will eventually be Aaron Rodgers as our starting quarterback, go all in for a Super Bowl these next 2 years. I don't want to use a pick on a quarterback at all these next 2 years. Just do that, and then we get into June 1st, and we say, hey, look, we will give you the trade we were talking about before. We'll give you the second-round pick in 2024 and a conditional pick in 2025 based on either performance or how he plays. But you know what? You guys want a first-round pick for him? We'll give you the 2024 first. But now that we've waited to June 1st, and he's missed some of our voluntary workouts that we would have really liked to have had him at, I want you guys to eat some of that bad contract that you signed him to, and you will get the 2024 first-round pick, which we are banking on being 25 to 32 anyway. And I have no problem with that, because if they eat $20 million of that $60 million bonus, and now all of a sudden you have $20 million on the back end of this Aaron Rodgers experience, I'm all about that. That is 100% worth the first-round pick you're going to give up, which is basically a $20 million player that you're kind of, foregoing there. But I'm on board with giving up the 2024 first after June 1st if we can use every pick that we have this year on guys to surround Rodgers, and the Packers are willing to eat some of that salary cap space that they would have gained by waiting to June 1st. Matt, your thoughts on giving up a first for Aaron Rodgers post-draft?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. Like now, if it was if they said, hey, like, it's a 2020, no conditions, 2022 second and a 2024 first, I say okay, because that is probably, if things go well, pick 28 to 32. All right, fine. If then it was worth it. Then it was worth it to me. I'm good with that. If that's the case, then you get to use, as you said, both of your picks in the second round, or it gives you some flexibility to move around if you wanted to. I still believe that something's going to get done before the draft. But if it doesn't, then okay, you give up next year's first, but you kept your entire draft class, then I'm okay with it.
Green Bean, what about you? How do you feel about possibly having to give up a first round pick for Aaron Rodgers in the event we spend all our picks this year on our own team?
I mean, I think, like, Ryan, the way you said it was pretty good. It's like, okay, well, I think as it ticks by, like, Brian Gutekunst was on record saying, oh, if it makes it past the draft, the price is going to change. I think, yeah, the price is going to change. As it gets closer and closer to when you got to pay him, I think it's going to change. But, again, like you said, that first round pick now becomes less valuable, because the idea is that we're going to be in the late 20s and 30s, maybe even 32, right? As opposed to 13. So it's significantly downgraded in value. If they're just hooked on this idea that we got a first, then do it that way. You know what I mean? For sure. I think using our picks this year and getting Aaron Rodgers would be fantastic. Like using the first and 2 seconds to fortify what we're trying to accomplish. And then next year going, sure, we'll give you a first. You know what I mean? Like now we'll give you a first. I think it would be beautiful. But I don't know. I mean, we're hearing all kinds of different reports on what they're asking for, what the sticking points are. Joe Douglas wants a third on the comeback. Should Aaron Rodgers not play? And they want just an unconnected first next year in addition to a second this year. And Joe Douglas said no. So it's all going to be interesting. But I think ultimately what we're going to see is a dramatic, when the Jets are on the clock, there has been a trade. That's what we're going to see. It's maximum juice, maximum, impact. I think that's the way it's going to go, and it'll be the trade that we want.
RJ, Mumtaz, and Harrison, I'm going to get to you guys in just a second. I just saw Dom C chime in here. Dom says, boys, you got to call it like it is. Right now, there are still holes to fill. We have limited draft capital, so rank these positions in order of importance. Offensive tackle, interior offensive line, interior defensive line, linebacker, wide receiver, safety. So for me, like you have it, Dom, tackle, center would be my top two that I want to address, because I think bringing in Simmons and then also having the flexibility of moving John Franklin Myers around while still having Carl Lawson under contract and Bryce Huff and all these other guys, I think defensive tackle is important, but I don't know if I necessarily feel the need to pick one too high, depending on the caliber of player that you're trying to select. If you're getting a stud, I'm okay with it. But other than that, I'm almost, if you're not doing it in the first 2 rounds, then maybe wait a little bit longer. So for me, I would probably rank it tackle, center, safety, linebacker, defensive tackle. Interior defensive lineman, linebacker, and safety are kind of the 3 that are in that lump for me. I would put them all within a certain deviation of one another, and wide receiver is the one that's a little further down. Matt, where do you fall on this particular list of positions?
Yeah, Dom C is really close to getting this in exact order for me. I think I would go OT, center, IDL, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, I think is the order that I would go.
Greenby, what about you? What kind of... Oh, sorry, Matt. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was going to say it's the last 3 are very close, but I think the top 3 or 4 are really the ones that I really want to focus on the most.
Greenby, what about you? This list of positions that Dom listed, how would you rank them in order of importance, or how you want them to be addressed?
Well, in order of importance, I have interior offensive line at number 1, center. That's I'm not going to get off
don't have
that
a
one
starter, right?
We don't fucking have one. You know what I mean? So I don't know what this business is. But now that said, do you take a center with pick 13? The answer is usually no. So, I mean, that does, just because it's in order of importance doesn't mean that's the order that I'm going to go. But I'll stick with importance. So it's like I think interior offensive line, namely center. I think tackle, even though we have tackles, you can't depend on Becton. So, yeah, I think that follows it. Interior defensive line, safety, linebacker, wide receiver, or maybe wide receiver, because I think Sherwood's going to come in. I think Sherwood's going to light everybody's dicks on fire. You heard it here first, fellas. I think you're all going to fall in love with Jamie and Sherwood this year. I'm watching that guy, man, and he's ready. And I think the Jets know he's ready. The crazy thing, I think they also think Tony Adams is ready. I tend to be a little bit less enthusiastic. I'm fine. All right. Okay, fine. But Sherwood's ready. And Tony Adams might be. But, yeah, I think that's how I have it. But I think that the tackle should more than likely be first. And interestingly, if the tackles aren't there, I would skip by interior and go defensive tackle too, because there's going to be, like you said, whether Jalen Carter slides or 𝐒𝐭𝐭, there's going to be guys there that you're going to put in plug and play. They're going to be dominant next to Quinnen. And that can be some fun stuff, man, with Carl Lawson and Jermaine coming around the edge with Huff and Michael Clemens pissing everybody off and stepping on their mother. All that kind of stuff. It's going to be great.
I love it.
There you go.
Love it. RJ comes in and says, how do we flip Mosley and get Devin White? Would love to add a linebacker.
Oh,
Mosley's
gross.
on this team, though. Mosley's not going anywhere. We're going to restructure him come August or September. He's going to be on the team the next 2 years with Aaron Rodgers. I think he's too much of a leader, too important of a piece. I would not. I don't think you move off a CJ when you're going for a ring. Matt, you seem very colorful right now. How you feeling?
Yeah, Devin White sucks. He's not a good player.
Why?
People know him because he was taken 5th overall, but he's not good. I've been fighting with people in comment sections on here, in the chat. It's just, so here's some rankings for him. Out of 52 qualified linebackers last year, his 14% missed tackle rate was 42nd. Reception percentage allowed 15th, not bad. Yards allowed 27th in coverage. Touchdowns allowed in coverage 47th. Passer rating allowed 51st, second worst in league. He can't cover, and he's not very good against the run either. He is a name because he was taken 5th overall. Levante David carries that defense. Devin White does not. He's just a name. Please don't give up draft capital and then pay him a ton of money. That'd be silly.
Matt dropping some cold, hard facts. Mumtaz comes in with a super chat, says, trading up with only 6 picks in the bank and at least 1 top pick going to Green Bay is crazy. 42 and 43 is perfect for what we need. Getting center earlier would be a reach. Well, 42 and 43, one of those 2 picks, I would like to be a center because at that point you're waiting on a need until the 4th round, and that does scare me a little bit. As far as trading up with only 6 picks, I do understand that. I do think there's a little less need for the depth like we had in previous years. So if you're talking maybe moving from the 4th into the 3rd, I think that's probably a little more my speed than maybe trading back into the 1st and losing a valuable pick next year. So I kind of agree there. Center earlier, I don't agree being a reach. I think 2nd round would be perfect for a center. Green Bean, any thoughts on Mumtaz's super chat right here? Do you tend to agree with only 6 picks in the bank? Maybe we don't trade up because of the lack of picks.
Going to Green Bay. I keep seeing Green Bean. I gotta. I'm sorry. That's just TV shit. I can't wait.
It's been jacking me up the last 2 months.
Oh, dude, it's killing me, man. I always think it. I always see it the wrong way. Always. If they mean Green Bay, I see Green Bean. If it's Green Bean, I see Green Bay. Perfect. What we need. No, I don't. Trading up with only 6 picks in the bank and at least 1 top pick is going to Green Bay is great. Well, I do agree. I think trading up, like Ryan just outlined, like, dude, we don't have a 3rd. That 3rds are a really good chip for that kind of stuff. We don't have it. There's a gap. So we're going to give one of these premium picks away. And then you're going to have to, if you want to start to trade up, you're going to have to go and take 2 and 3 or next year's picks. And you're going to have to start doing all that sort of stuff. Now, if there's a top 10 player and he's sitting there, in the early 2nd or something like that, just shit happens. Every year it happens, man. So make no mistake, just because a guy slips doesn't mean he's not going to make it or he's not a good player. But I tend to agree with that end. Now, the other side, center earlier, I disagree wholeheartedly, man. I think there's some nice centers and there's going to be a run, dude. Make no mistake. There's a few teams that need them. And there's good ones, whether it's Avila, whether you like Patterson, Stromberg, Tippmann, Whippler, obviously, John Michael Schmitz, all these guys. I mean, dude, there's a good group. You got to fucking get one, dude. You know what I mean? We don't have one. You want to play games and wait till pick 112? I mean, I don't know, Mumtaz. I ain't doing that. Which one of those guys is sliding to 112? Tell me which one, and then we'll talk.
I love it. I love it. Boys and girls, make sure you hit that like button. For every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a qualifier for our t-shirt giveaway. And if you want to get entered into all our giveaways through the NFL draft, Nightbot is chiming in the chat, dropping the link to the new Talkin Jets channel that Matt Greenbean and I launched. We're going to start the Talking Jets show over there in July when we come back after our summer hiatus. So if you head over there, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, you'll be entered to our jersey giveaways, all the different stuff we're going to be doing throughout the draft. And Fun thing that we decided we were going to do, and I completely forgot to plug it. So if we have any graphic design people out there as fans of the channel or just want to get in on a fun contest, we probably should have organized as far as like where this is going to be sent. Let's say you got to send it to jetstalk247@gmail.com. That'll be where you got to send it. But we're looking for a channel logo for this new Talkin' Jets panel. And we'll give you, there'll be some sort of financial incentive. I really probably should have talked about this with you guys prior to doing this. Right now, we had the idea of like doing yeah, I know. We had the idea of doing this. So like if one of the subscribers comes up with a great logo for the three of us, we'd love to do something. Maybe it's you get a jersey, or maybe we send you, just an Amazon gift card or something along those lines. But we'll discuss what that's going to wind up being, and we just want to have it ready to go. We think we have a bunch of creative fans out there that I think could help us along, and if we choose yours, then a little pat on the back, and you get to see it as the channel logo, and you make yourself a little bit of cheddar at the same time. What are you thinking about that, Matt?
I'm gonna have to crack open Paint, Microsoft Paint, and get to work over here because that sounds like a lot of fun. I would love an Amazon gift card.
Dude, I'm gonna create my little circles, my squares, and like have stuff that's like copy and pasted over and all that stuff. Who knows? Maybe we got some really talented people out there. We're not all I don't know. You guys are talented.
And we'll love you forever,
what? Yeah, absolutely. I'll blow you a kiss on camera. Green Bean, how you feeling about this logo challenge we got going on?
I think it's going to be great. I think you guys got it. Look, I mean, any opportunity to kind of be involved with each other. Like, let me just tell you guys some things. You guys know Jeremy, right? Like Jeremy was a winner. Now, the way he won was complete horseshit. This Jets Chaos guy, he actually he contacted my wife on her social media. It's fucking shady shit. That all said, Jeremy was in. That's how Jeremy kind of got into this world. Then �Wa2K, very similar. I just said, hey, I put it out. I need somebody like behind me to help me look up stats. I can't pay you or anything like that. I just, if you're looking to help out and kind of be a part of it, and there's �Wa2K. And like Dom C was a guy. I've known Dom C since he's a little tiny baby boy. We come from the same little tiny 1 square mile town in New Jersey. And he was friends with my younger sister, but I haven't seen Dom in 20 years at least. And he won a contest. Remember the contest to be on the that big? And he sounded good. And I reached out to him. Hey, you want to help out with some things? And boom, Dom C is born. So who knows, man? This is one of those things. If you do this stuff, it's exciting. Like, be a part of it. Come on in, man. Like, we're a good group of dudes. Ryan will sit with us for hours and help. And like, this is a good community, man. And if you do this, who knows where it could lead, and even just hanging out, man. It's good to just hang out with each other and meet you guys. And again, it's an opportunity. I think it could be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see what kind of designs you guys come up with. It'd be great.
I'm pumped. And if all your designs are shit, we're going to come up with our own anyway. So
that's right.
What do you got to lose?
We'll still pretend we like them, though. We'll still pretend.
Yeah.
They were all good, but
yeah,
we're nice.
No, of course. We'd love to choose one. It would be a delight for us. Harrison comes in, says, question, do you think we deal a running back at any point with Michael Carter, Bam, and Brees? Also, if Corey Davis restructured, we are more than fine at wide receiver. Yeah, as far as the Corey Davis stuff goes, I like that Green Bay tried to trade for him, and I like that Aaron Rodgers is coming here, and by some additive or I don't even know what mathematical property that would have been, basically means that Aaron Rodgers wanted to play with Corey Davis in some capacity in the past, and I think him coming here now, if you could, renegotiate and say, hey, Corey, we want you here for the next 2 years. We want to go win a Super Bowl. You're going to have the best quarterback you've ever had throwing you the ball. We want you here. Let's get this done. If he takes a little bit less money, I'm all about it. Honestly, even his $10.5 million that he's due this year is still peanuts compared to where some of these wide receiver contracts are going, even though he's probably not, he didn't live up to that number this past year. I think bad quarterback play does play a factor in that. Now, as far as do we think we go with a running back, I don't know. I want to believe in Michael Carter like really badly, and I think a lot of it had to do with shit quarterback play and terrible offensive line health and all that good stuff. And he's such a great voice in the locker room. Like for me, there's no way Michael Carter's not here being a major part of the influence of this team. And I like Bam. I think Brees I would start on IR depending on how good he's looking heading into training camp. Like I don't want to rush him back in any capacity. So let's play the game of Brees is on IR for 4 weeks. Are we comfortable with Bam Knight, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson as our 3 running backs, or do we think we should add another one either via the draft or maybe someone like a Kareem Hunt or someone like that that's out there in free agency? Matt, where do you fall on the running back front?
I think people have gotten off the Michael Carter bandwagon too quickly. I think he is a bounce back candidate this year. I also think that Bam Knight showed me something last year. Yes, it was in a small sample size, but also the last 3-4 weeks of the year, the offensive line was in absolute shambles. So I don't know how much stock I'm really going to put into what we saw the final weeks. Like, yes, it was bad. We know the last 3-4 games was just absolutely abysmal, but I think both of those guys can be effective if they fix the offensive line, which fully anticipate Joe Douglas doing.
Green Bean, what about you? How do you feel about possibly making a move for a running back, whether it be through the draft, free agency? How are you feeling about our running back room?
I mean, I think they'll add someone because they want to have a 4th, you know what I mean? But I don't think, dude, like we all kind of got down. I mean, like we have to stay in reality, right? The reason that our running game fell off a cliff the second half of the year, now obviously Brees was the greatest stud on the team, so there's that. But Michael Carter, Bam Knight, like Matt said, he showed a lot. Dude, teams had 8 and 9 in the box. They were daring an incapable Zach Wilson to beat them. And that's what happened. Like they can't do anything, you know? So the idea that that's going to happen again with Aaron Rodgers, dude, go ahead, put 8 in the box. Aaron Rodgers is going to slice and dice all the way to the end zone all day long. That's what he's going to do. He's going to make you pay. And that's why you need a quarterback. That's what we're doing here. We had the 32nd ranked quarterback play with a few peaks here and there, some nice plays by Zach, some Mike White dreams, and even Strebler came out and ran around a little bit. You know what I mean? Threw a bunch of cantaloupes around that people caught, and meatball passes. We had our moments, but dude, teams knew if we take away their running game, likely their offense can't do anything. And that's what we saw. I think Michael Carter, Bam Knight, Ty Johnson, who I have been raving about for years, I love more than anyone. I love Ty Johnson. I'm so happy he's back. And but I think those guys, you bring a guy in, young guy, maybe another late round or undrafted free agent, like you said, somebody as a 4th. I think we'll be fine until Brees comes back. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, dude, I'm a big Michael Carter fan. As far as like favorite players on the team, he's right up there in my top 5. Like personality is huge for me, and this dude was every bit the leader you needed him to be. And I'm hoping. I think he's primed for a bounce back year. I agree with Matt and Green Bean here. Blitz Crew drops in with a super chat, says, point wise, in the trade value, we come out ahead if our first next year is mid-20s or later. Would love to give the first next year for Aaron Rodgers. We certainly can make good use of our picks this year. Yeah, that's exactly where I fall, especially if you can wind up getting Green Bay to eat some of that bonus, which I think post June 1st might be a little more likely because they may value the 5-year contract in the first round over a mid-second round pick this year in a year that they have 10 draft picks already. So, yeah, I'm on board with giving up the first next year. I've got no issues with that. I do think it's us coming out ahead. And it is kind of interesting, right? Like, I think what Blitzcrew's trying to get at here is that if you value the first next year as a second-round pick this year, and we're deeming that we're going to be at the tail end of the first round next year, then ipso facto kind of means that we'd be giving up the equivalent of a late second-round pick this year. And if you're giving up a late second-round pick this year, then yeah, you're making up a lot of ground considering you have pick 42 and 43. So that's an interesting way to look at it, Blitzker. I'm pretty sure that's what you were kind of getting at there. Matt, how do you feel about giving up the first next year and it being maybe equated to a late second this year because of where we anticipate we'll finish next season?
I'm confused with how it could equate to but
So, so let's
this
say
year. Okay.
the 2024
Yeah,
first
yeah.
right now is valued as a 2023 second. So if we think we're going to be at the tail end of the first, that sort of means we would be giving up a late second this year, which is better than giving up 42 or 43 this year.
It took me a second. It computed. Yeah, I'm on board with that logic. I think that totally makes sense, and I am okay giving that up because, as you said earlier here, if they're winning games and that pick is in the first round 28-32, then you have no problem giving it up because, as you said, that means you were extremely relevant and either in a championship game or the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'll do that any day of the week.
Green Bean, how are you feeling about possibly giving up the first round pick in 2024 instead of giving up a pick this year? Do you think we wind up coming out ahead because of where we think that first round pick may be valued?
Yep. I think that's one of the things that I was talking about that, I don't know, 2 weeks ago before I went into my spiritual watering hole. But I think it was that far back. But yeah, that's an interesting trick. And don't forget, man, Joe Douglas could already be willing to do all that stuff, but he's holding out. So he's saying, no. Okay, fine. Take the first next year. They go, yay. And it was what Joe Douglas wanted to give the whole time because it's essentially going to be a late second round pick because of the year-to-year VIG, let's call it. It's not a VIG, but the conversion. Yes, conversion rate. There it is. So yeah, I think that's exactly how to look at it, man. It's not an exact science, but that's kind of what we do. A first this year is a second next year. A first next year is equivalent to a second. I don't fucking know. You can correct me, but that's how we do it. Okay. I agree.
Mr. Uglis hops in with a super chat. He says, how much of this chicanery with the Rodgers trade is just Roger Goodell hype machine, and what are the odds that the deal is done and the entire show is just an off-season money grab by the league? I kind of speculated that early on in this process. I said, hey, look, May, June, July is a dead period for the NFL. Man, it would create a lot of talking points for those guys on ESPN and NFL Network that drives ad revenue for those channels if they're talking about a Hall of Fame MVP quarterback going to one of the most stacked teams without a quarterback in one of the biggest markets that drives a crazy ton of engagement online. If they wait until July to get this trade done. Not to mention, the Jets are probably the favorites to have Hard Knocks, and all of a sudden you're getting this drama in the Hard Knocks universe, and there's just all this marketing power that comes out of the New York Jets and the NFL in general. Not to mention, there's benefits for both the Jets and Packers to get this trade done a little bit later. So to have it hanging, as much as it's getting fans to pull their hair out, the Jets are going to get a better deal the longer we wind up waiting. And if the worst case scenario is giving up the 2024 first round pick as we get closer to training camp without them eating any kind of salary cap space because we feel pressured at that point, so be it. I'm good with it. Green Bean, what do you think about the hype machine that could be maybe behind the scenes here working all this Aaron Rodgers drama? You think it's Goodell on this side and the trade's already been worked out?
I think there's a very good chance that is at play. Like you said, dude, what better? That's what I said before. I think what we're going to see is when the Jets are on the clock, do-do-do, oh, wait, what's the sound?
Do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, do-do-do-do-do-do. A trade. You see a Green Bay Packers flag or some shit waving on the screen. That would be maximum. Oh my God, the whole thing. I think that if we do see that, damn well this trade was completed in February. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing. Maybe not all the way, right? They probably had some negotiating, some posturing, and all that kind of stuff. But look, even the Green Bay general manager said, "I have a feeling it'll be done before the first round of the draft." So. I think it, like you said, there's a lot of reasons to do it. Money speaks. Money talks, guys. So there it is.
So Green Bean was trying to do the jingle right there, and I see Hamsicle say, Green Bean got the wrong jingle. At least he didn't start singing 1877 cars for kids.
That shit sticks, man.
877 cars for kids. Dude, that's going to be stuck in your head the rest of the night. You're welcome. Matt, how are you feeling about this hype machine? You think it's Roger Goodell maybe pulling a few strings, making sure things don't happen right away?
No, I think they're trying to figure out some final minuscule details, like if the Jets are going to get a 2025 day 3 pick back if Rodgers only plays 1 year.
Dude, I would love to just be a fly on the wall in any of these little conversations that are going on around the Green Bay Packers, the New York Jets, the owners meeting. I would have loved to have sat in and just kind of watched. I don't know. It's all interesting to me. I find all this stuff incredibly fascinating. Sing the 877 Cars song, Green Bean, says David D.
No. We can't be doing that.
I'll have to get
Sorry,
the little
David.
button
You
over
know
here,
it.
and I'll hit it. I'll have the jingle, and then we'll get
it's already in my head.
demonetized.
Already in my. I know exactly. If we sing it, then the video. It's funny. I just looked. One of my videos just got hit, so that's what I looked at. But it's funny if we sing it here, that's what's going to happen. Can't use our.
Do you
song.
think if we started jingling it, would it be an honor to sing it so well that we are mistaken for the kids that sing the Cars for Kids commercial and we got demonetized? Or is that just
That's worse.
right?
Hey,
I
listen
think
to
it
this.
might be worse.
Maybe. I know. I don't think it depends on how good you are. It's just that the algorithm picks you up. Jet Nation, Phil called me a couple weeks ago and he said, dude, what are you doing? What is this bullshit? I said, what do you mean? He goes, you put a video on my channel on Jet Nation and then you copyright hit it. It's a Green Bean has a copyright claim. I don't fucking put a copyright claim in on. He's like, that's the biggest dick move I've ever seen. I'm like, what are you talking about? What that is?
What an asshole.
Great.
You Green Bean? How'd you do that?
It's like,
Who
what
put
are
in a
you doing?
copyright claim for you? What
No,
the
it said
hell?
Green Bean did. I did.
Interesting.
Somehow.
Did you accidentally post your video to his page and then you posted your video to your page and you're like, who the fuck stole my video?
No, I would never complain about Jet Nation. You know what I mean? I
Well, no,
would
I know
never in
not
a
Jet
million
Nation,
years.
of course.
But it's like, I know I put it on that one and I didn't put it on mine. And I said, let me throw up a short. It was a short. I threw it up over there. And then and then I click. I guess the algorithm just does it for you now. Now you don't even have to.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, yeah, man, they're just getting nuts, man. They just want to take. That's all they want to do.
Of course. I don't know.
Anyway, I thought it was funny.
That is really funny. I don't know. Have you been over on Jet Nation at all, Green Bean, the last few days? I tagged you in something the other day.
No, I was there like 2 weeks ago. I haven't been there in a minute.
So Phil's got an upgrade coming to the forum that might allow some live video interaction. So I tagged you in that.
Really?
I was like, ooh. Yeah, so you might want to take a look at it. But Phil says he'll reach out to us when that all happens. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
If you guys don't hang out on Jet Nation forums, you should.
It's mad.
It's a rabbit hole,
isn't it?
Ugh, it's great. It's kind of like Twitter in that you'll get the posts populating pretty quickly. It's not as fast as Twitter, but you get to see the upvotes and downvotes that people have contributed, so you can kind of gauge who the good posters and bad posters are, and you kind of you sort of see the dynamic behind it. It's interesting because I talk to a ton of people there more frequently than I talk to my family, and I don't know any of them. Green Bean was one of those guys. I talked to Green Bean for years before I realized not even realized who he was, but before we started even talking.
It out.
Yeah, I used to take Ryan's videos from YouTube and put them on Jet Nation. I'm like, look at this guy. This guy's good. And then he's like, yeah, what I was thinking. I'm like, what do you mean what you were thinking? Is that you? Fuck is that? How's that you?
I was like, I slipped.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
funny.
great. Yeah, Rodrigo says, so it's like Reddit. Kind of like Reddit. So Reddit is kind of a flash in the pan with topics. Like it'll trend for like a day or so, where Jet Nation, you could post a forum and things that like become relevant again will bump those forum pages up. So it's a little different from Reddit. I mean, I follow the Jet subreddit. I'm on the Jet Discord. I'm on the Jet Nation forums, Jet's Twitter. Although, I don't know. I can spread myself so thin, and I get news from so many different sources. I actually love it when fans wind up sending or anyone in the chat sends me a link or tags me in something on Twitter, because a lot of the times I'm not like focused on stuff. So when people send me things I'm going to forget the guy's name. He sent me something about, it might've been the Odell trade or Odell signing. He sent it to me and I was like, oh wow. Like that's something I want to talk about. And I was like, I would have never made a video right away had I not, seen that go through. So I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is interesting. Did you guys see this tweet come up? Cafe, by the way, says thoughts on YouTube Sunday ticket pricing. If you are a YouTube TV subscriber, I'm pretty sure the price is going to be $249 additional for Sunday ticket. If you purchase it, I think it's before June 6th. Don't quote me on the date, but then after that, it's like $100 more. I think it's $349 after that. So they're definitely pushing the early sign up to get that heavy discount. And then I think if you pair it with Red Zone, there's a different price. And I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I've never actually had Sunday ticket. I've bought NFL Plus. Game Pass is the closest thing I've had to an NFL premium subscription in something. I guess I've had Red Zone. I don't need Sunday ticket. I'm in the area, so I haven't had to explore that route. Green Bean, I know you're a little bit further away. Do you have Sunday ticket, or is that something you'd possibly look at?
Yeah, I have Sunday ticket through the app, which sucks. Because it's delayed even on the Sunday ticket. So if you have Sunday ticket, I'm like a good 15, 20 seconds even behind you. And in the live streams, everybody says, hey, you're behind. I'm like, I do. For years, people have been saying that to me. But I have YouTube TV. It's great. I've canceled so many other things for YouTube TV. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to get it probably by the end of the week. And just fucking call it a day. I mean, $250 is not bad for the entire season. And I might even get the Red Zone package. I don't know. I love Red Zone, so I'm probably going to. But yeah, I think it's a good deal. YouTube TV is good too. Like the delay. I watched some games last year. There was some live stuff, maybe Thursday Night Football or something. I mean, I know that's Amazon, but there was some stuff that maybe you don't know what it was. I watched the honors ceremony. And I was locked in. I was maybe 5 seconds behind some people. You know what I mean?
I was watching you.
For me.
I had it live on YouTube TV on my page because I use YouTube TV through my internet as well. I really like it. Unlimited DVR.
Yeah, unlimited. Right. I got all my Rick and Morty's and everything like that. I got everything.
Oh, it's great.
Rick and Morty's.
Becca my wife will DVR The Bachelor. So she'll find that. Her and her friend do something every Tuesday night. They hang out and do that. I like YouTube TV for a lot of reasons. I think having it available on the app is really my favorite thing because I could pull it up. I'll watch YouTube TV while we're doing a stream. I think that's one of the coolest things. I don't have to have a TV on with a specific cable box. That's the part about cable that kind of blows is you got to have a cable box for each one of your TVs where all of us pretty much have a Fire Stick or a Roku or something along those lines that can just populate an app for YouTube TV. And it's so much easier. They are raising the price a little bit. I think it went from $67 to $72 or $65 to $72.
Yeah, which is a bummer. You think about it. If you got 20 million subscribers, you raise it $5. That's 100 million, just like that every month. Boom. We got to get into something like that. We got to make it so it's like that. It's like insurance, right? Everybody buys insurance. Everybody pays, $150 a month. You got 1 million people. It's $150 million a month. And somebody goes, "I need a tooth pulled." You're like, "How much is it?" $500. Go ahead, do it. I made $150 million this month. Here, fucking get your teeth out. Go ahead. We'll pay your copay first, so we don't have to pay that.
We don't care about the $30. We won't pay that $30 copay.
Yeah.
We'll cover everything else.
I'll tell you, but that's the gig. That's what they're doing, so it makes sense to me. But the product is good, though. That's the thing. DirecTV sucks if it rains, man. It rains.
The biggest issue with YouTube TV for me is no Yankees, no Rangers. Not being able to have MSG or Yes Network on there that's a pretty big No, that's the big knock against YouTube TV, because if you like either one of those teams, you're looking at a situation where you still have to get cable unless they come out with some type of MSG package that I'm just kind of missing right now that includes those types of things. But that's a huge miss right there.
Yeah, what if you don't care about either one of those teams? Is it better?
Then that doesn't matter. Well, because then it's like, okay, now I don't have to use those. I mean, I don't watch as much. I only watch football. I'm a bad sports fan. I want to get more involved, but I can't even get the opportunity to watch the Rangers because they're never on YouTube TV. They'd have to be on like an ESPN or like a lower channel, like an NBC or Fox or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, there was a time when I watched religiously, obviously all NFL, particularly Jets, but all NFL. I would watch maybe 70% of the Yankees games. I was a huge Nets fan, but they sucked, so I'd watch those games, and I'd watch the Knicks. So, you know what I mean? The whole Patrick Ewing era. I watched the Islanders. You know, the Islanders were my team, so I watched like the Pierre Turgeon, Kasparaitis Islanders. And then I watched NASCAR every single weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I was on top of every – dude, I can't even watch – I can't even read – I can't even consume all the Jets shit anymore. It's so much. Hard out there to keep up.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
Mr. Uglis says, does YouTube TV have the Spice Network? I have no idea what the Spice Network is. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Why? Dude, Spice is only fun if you watch it with the squiggles, Chode. You know this.
I've got no clue what you're talking about.
All right, let me tell you.
Okay.
All right, it's an adult channel, but back in the day of
you flip it to channel 3, you get the staticky screen, and you're like, oh, I think that's a butt.
It was squiggles, but it was squiggles. But if you were on cocaine and watched it for 7 hours, you would get these clips. It would go boop and would show you the real stuff for like 12 seconds. You go, ooh, and then
I saw a butt.
You saw a boobie. Boobies.
Maybe we'll start a chant like that when we go to week 1 or week 2. Week 2.
That's great, man.
People in the chat don't like the wave. I love the wave. I would love to do I want to get the wave started. Oh, we can still do the jet chant, but I want to do the wave. I want to know I had some sort of influence on creating the wave in a stadium. I feel like that would be genuinely exciting. Douglas comes in, says, if you have an Android phone or tablet, you can spoof the location on YouTube TV and watch games from anywhere. So I do have a VPN, but I have had issues with honing in where that VPN is actually located. My NordVPN just kind of hits like United States, so I don't really have as fine a control about that. Maybe he's talking about an Android phone though, so maybe you can. I don't know how you spoof the location. I don't know. Either way, the reason I got YouTube TV is so I could do the draft stream, so I could show kind of some of this stuff on screen. And I used to use like buff streams, like the free stuff that you could I shouldn't say free, but the stuff that you would pirate off like NFL streams subreddit or something like that. But it was always very like clunky and tough to try and get a stable stream. Like the NFL stuff, everyone's trying to watch it all at once and it's buffering and you're getting issues and stuff. So like that's kind of what pushed me into the legitimate. I'll pay for it because I want to watch it. I don't mind paying for things I'm entertained by.
The issue with the free streams, I don't do it so much for the NFL, but like for the different hockey games, because like I like to have like the Islanders on the big screen, then like another game on the other monitor. But it always freezes and buffers. I don't want to deal with that for something I really care about. Like if I had to watch Jet games and it would buffer every 10 minutes, I would freak out. I couldn't handle it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would drive me bonkers. And like they're really delayed too because they're through like however sort of streaming service. The only way to get it without any kind of delay is pure coaxial and just having it like, legitimate cable internet or not cable internet, cable hookup like via a box. I feel like that's the fastest way to get a signal, which I don't know. We're digital. Make it faster.
Yes, please.
All right, we have reached the end of our show. That went pretty quick there, guys. So let's go around let's figure out how many. Matt, could you head over to the trailer, the promo trailer, over on our new Talkin' Jets YouTube channel that you guys should totally subscribe to. It's linked in the live chat, and I think Nightbot has been dropping it somewhere in the live chat as well. So let's pick. Let's go. I'm gonna pick 5. Ooh, Greenbean, have you been writing down the super chat people?
Dude, I have. It's been fucking brutal, dude.
Perfect. All right. So you've got that list. Matt, do you want to give us 5 names? Scroll at random through that topic section, and we'll pick some qualifiers.
So in the Talkin' Jets draft party promo, the comments in there, right? That's where we're picking from. All right, we're scrolling. First one is Lawrence Rubin.
Ooh, Lawrence Rubin.
All right, Laura, hold on. Lawrence Rubin, just so you know, is already in, so you get 2 Lawrence Rubin.
Whoa, they luck out tonight.
Yeah.
Love
it. Next one is AZ Jets.
Ooh, that's a good one. I was talking to AZ the other day. Good guy.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, that cover guy. Okay, all right. I'm ready.
How about UK Jets fan?
Okay.
Ooh, little cross the pond loving. Love it.
Chop liver.
Okay.
That's how I feel Jet fans feel across the NFL landscape.
Very true.
Yeah. And then we'll go T. Willie.
Willie. All right. How many we got, Green Bean?
Okay. Excuse me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, 25 member and super chats. Plus we have 26 and 17, 8, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 39, 39 total.
Ooh. Do we want to do the Google random number generator, or we want to do some odds or evens tonight?
I will take your lead.
Let's do the generator.
Ooh, generator. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not doing the generator. Sorry.
Yeah, you can.
It's because the screen share jacked me up. Actually, no. Yeah, hold on. Let's figure this out. Ryan is a man of the people.
Right. I'm gonna throw one more in there right now. Whoever this is, you're a lucky fucking person here.
So we're gonna have what? We're gonna have 40, right?
40, yeah. I don't like 30. 39 didn't feel good.
No, yeah.
Mutt Viles, you want in? I got to do it organically, Mutt. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Oh, that's my face. That's not where I'm trying to go.
I want to put you in.
Oh, there he is.
I'm beautiful from the side. This is coming from my. Hey, you like my lava lamp? Chilling off on the side there. It's great.
The last one is 19 New York Jets 69. That's you. You're in.
All right. Let's figure this out.
I know my files. I'm rooting for you, buddy.
So we're gonna go Chrome, random number generator.
There it is.
All right, let's do this. We're gonna give it a little. So we're not gonna see each other for a few seconds.
That's okay.
That's all right.
That's all right. All right. So random number generator. Let's see. Who we got? Oh, 2.
2.
Nice and easy.
Oh, Ant Jets.
I was really hoping it would be like
you're the winner. Ant Jets.
Ant Jets 82. Welcome.
There he is.
Love it. Reach out to me, jetstalk247@gmail.com. Let me get your information. I'll send you out a shirt. Really excited to have it get sent out to you. All right, boys and girls, we've reached the end of our show, so let's go around our panel and say our closing thoughts. Green Bean, any last words?
All right, I'm doing an after-hours show, but I've yawned over a dozen times, so I think tonight we're going to pull off a true 30-minute stream. What do you guys think? Come on.
Bullshit.
Let's do it.
I'll see you at midnight.
I'm going to fall asleep, dude. I got to do it, though. It's already made. I made it, so. Yeah, come hang out on Green Bean Jets Fan and a little bit after this stream, and we'll have some fun. And I'll sleep.
Ooh, Matt, any last words for our panel?
New episode of Just Jets comes out tomorrow. We are discussing David Bakhtiari's silly claim. We are talking about the growing list of almost Jets and answering your questions. Be sure to tune in.
Ooh, man, I can't believe we didn't talk about the David Bakhtiari stuff. I totally dropped the ball on that one. I am sorry. I'm a bad host tonight. We wound up like going off on tangents far more than actually talking about the Jets stuff.
Say? I don't even know. Aaron Rodgers is a tinfoil hatter.
He thinks that there's a third alternative, not the Jets winning, the Jets winning the trade, the Packers conceding a trade, whatever. It's the Packers paying Aaron Rodgers to sit and be backup for $60 million. Dude's off his friggin' rocker. But I'll let you guys listen to Matt's take on that tomorrow.
Yeah,
but for night. Oh, it's going to be so good. But tonight, boys and girls, that's it for us. Make sure you head over to that new Talkin' Jets channel, pinned in the live chat, also going to be in the description down below. Subscribe to that channel. Leave a comment on the only video that's over there, and you'll get qualified for all our giveaways through the NFL Draft. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's truly an honor to fly with you. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.
I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your backs are against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure. Sacked by 𝐒𝐿𝐴 Right sideline, Gonzalez got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like give it like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life to breathe into the locker room.
Touchdown Jets.